your life journey with all of them so they know what the context is when they hear your answers.
I think you did it pretty well, Pradeep. I've been here 20 years now, and I think I can almost call myself a local. But it's been very different, the transition. And Coimbatore is a great city. I mean, you all know that everybody I met here made it very easy for me. So, yeah.
Right. So, making the jump from being a medical doctor, I know the PhD IMS are where are the PhD IMS are guys? Put your hands up. Okay, so she's your super senior, right?
Yeah, many years ago.
Yeah, decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So, from being a medical doctor to getting to a family that's primarily into engineering and all that stuff, was there a specific point where you thought that, okay, I think now I need to make a transition from being a doctor to something else? And what was that point?
I don't know if it was one particular point. There have been several instances. Like over the years when, I used to see my father and my grandfather tell these stories about, a patient is walking in and by the time they come and sit down in front of you, you've already made your diagnosis based on what you see and, what you feel and things like that. Coming from that background, I came to a family that is so technical, and they kept asking me how you can rely on one doctor's pair of eyes and hands to diagnose something that's life and death, when now today you can use so many means to be sure at least 1,000,000 times over before you make a decision, right? So the transition was very, very clear in the sense that you can't depend on what you learned even 30 years ago. But for early starters, I think it was a challenge because everything had to have a scientific explanation and sort of a clinical trial and things like that, which because it was Coimbatore, acceptance was great. People were very, very forthcoming in terms of volunteering for the studies that we did and things like that. So it was encouraging,
Any unlearnings that you have to do, right? You've been trained as a doctor, suddenly you're supposed to do something else. So what are the unlearnings that you have to do?
Well, it's different when you're sitting in a room and diagnosing patients versus you're working with. Well, my work at least starts with working with a whole bunch of engineers, let's say, right? We heard about design thinking, and so here you're at that cusp of identifying problems in your patients and feeling empathy for them, and then giving the engineers the problem statement and how and what needs to be built, right? So you're at the cusp of this entire problem statement, and I think that was what and that was what is a huge responsibility. And when you see something transform somebody's life, I think that's very rewarding, and that was really what I learned to do more, or made me do more.
Right. You run a company that's into health tech, right? Robotics and health tech. And I think you started during the COVID time, when everyone else was taking like a step back and taking a pause. You decided to start something new. So what was the idea behind that? And also if you could tell what does Atre do and how you got the idea to do robotics and remote.
It was almost like I didn't have a choice because the business that we were in, primarily fertilizer. Fertilizer was still, the company was running, we had the passes, and at that time my husband was heading CII. So